pronto a cross, deviato, c'è Inzaghi solo! Rete! Rete! Inzaghi!
In football history, there have been many types of strikers. Some are known for their incredible speed, some for their magical dribbling, and others for their physical dominance. But every once in a while, the game produces a striker so unique that even the greatest defenders struggle to explain how he keeps scoring. He is not the fastest player on the pitch. He does not dribble past defenders like a magician. And sometimes, when he touches the ball, it doesn't even look elegant, but when the ball enters the penalty box, he becomes one of the most dangerous predators football has ever seen. His name is Filippo Inzaghi. For years, defenders, coaches, and commentators tried to understand his game. How does a player who looks so ordinary manage to score so many goals? Legendary Manchester United manager Sir Alex Ferguson once joked that Inzaghi was born in an offside position. It sounded like a joke. But behind that joke was a deep truth, because Filippo Inzaghi lived his entire career dancing on the edge of the offside line, waiting for the perfect moment to strike, and when that moment came, it was almost always too late for the defenders. This is the story of one of the greatest penalty box predators in football history. Filippo Inzaghi was born on August 9th, 1973, in the small Italian city of Piacenza. Like many children in Italy, he grew up surrounded by football. Streets, parks, and schoolyards were his first stadiums from an early age. One thing was clear. Inzaghi loved scoring goals, not dribbling, not showing off skills, not entertaining the crowd. He simply loved putting the ball in the net. Unlike many future superstars, Inzaghi was not considered a prodigy. Coaches did not look at him and say, "This boy will become a legend." He wasn't particularly fast. He wasn't physically dominant, and technically, he looked average compared to other young talents. But there was something about him that no training session could teach. Instinct. A natural sense of where the ball would end up inside the penalty area. Inzaghi began his professional journey with Piacenza Calcio, the club from his hometown. But like many young players, he needed time and experience to develop. He was loaned out to smaller clubs, including Hellas Verona FC, where he began to sharpen the one skill that would define his career: finishing chances. Then came the breakthrough. In 1996, Inzaghi joined Atalanta BC, and suddenly, the football world started paying attention. During the 1996 to 1997 Serie A season, Inzaghi shocked everyone by scoring 24 goals. He finished as the league's top scorer. It was an extraordinary achievement, especially for a player who had never been considered a superstar. But even more fascinating was how he scored those goals. They weren't spectacular long shots. They weren't solo runs from midfield. Most of them came from inside the penalty box. One touch, one chance, one goal. Defenders began to notice something strange about him. He was always in the right place, always, just when they thought they had marked him. He would disappear behind their shoulders and suddenly appear in front of the goal. It was almost like he could predict the future. Soon, one of Italy's biggest clubs came calling. In 1997, Juventus FC signed Filippo Inzaghi at Juventus. He joined a team filled with world-class talent, including Alessandro Del Piero and the legendary French playmaker Zinedine Zidane. Playing for Juventus meant enormous pressure. The club demanded trophies, victories, and constant excellence. But Inzaghi responded the only way he knew how, by scoring goals. Season after season, he delivered. His movement inside the penalty area became one of the most feared weapons in Italian football. Yet it's always easy. The presence of Del Piero often placed the spotlight elsewhere, and tactical changes sometimes limited Inzaghi's role. Eventually, In 2001, a major turning point arrived. He moved to AC Milan, and that move would define the rest of his career. AC Milan. Inzaghi found the perfect environment for his unique style of play. The team was filled with extraordinary talents. Midfield, maestros like Andrea Pirlo controlled the tempo of matches. Creative players like Poacher created endless opportunities. And Inzaghi, he simply waited. Waiting inside the penalty box, watching every movement of the defenders, studying every pass. Then, at the exact right moment, he made his move. One step behind the defender, one touch on the ball. Goal! His partnership with Milan became legendary. Over the years, he scored countless crucial goals, especially in Europe's biggest competition, the UEFA Champions League. And then came the night that defined his legacy. Forever, May 23, 2007. The stage was the UEFA Champions League Final 2007. The opponents were Liverpool FC. For AC Milan, this match was about redemption. 2 years earlier, they had suffered one of the most painful defeats in football history against Liverpool. This final was their chance to rewrite the story, and the hero of that night would be Filippo Inzaghi. The first goal came from a free kick. The ball deflected off Inzaghi and flew into the net. Some called it lucky, but the second goal removed all doubt. Inzaghi timed his run perfectly, broke through the defensive line, and calmly finished past the goalkeeper. 2 goals, to moments of pure striker instinct. AC Milan won the Champions League, and Filippo Inzaghi became the hero of Athens. Throughout his career, Inzaghi developed a reputation for constantly being caught offside. But that was part of his strategy. He was always testing the defensive line, always pushing the defenders to their limits. Most strikers are afraid of being offside. Inzaghi used it as a weapon. He stood so close to the line that defenders were forced to watch him every second. One moment of distraction, and he was gone, running behind the defense, facing the goalkeeper, scoring. Another goal. That relentless movement made him one of the most difficult strikers to mark in football history. His success wasn't based on athletic superiority, it was based on intelligence, anticipation, and an almost supernatural sense of timing. Inzaghi also represented the Italy national football team for many years. One of the greatest moments of his international career came during the FIFA World Cup 2006. When Italy lifted the World Cup trophy in Germany, even though he wasn't always the starting striker, his experience and presence added depth to a squad that would become world champions. By the time Inzaghi retired in 2012, he had scored more than 300 goals in professional football. But statistics alone do not capture what made him special, because Filippo Inzaghi wasn't just a goal scorer. He was a master of positioning, a student of defensive mistakes, a hunter inside the penalty box. After retiring, he transitioned into coaching, managing several Italian clubs, including his beloved AC Milan. While his coaching career continues to develop, his legacy as a player is already secure. In modern football, strikers are often judged by their speed, strength, and technical brilliance. But Inzaghi proved that another skill can be just as powerful: instinct. The instinct to know where the ball will land. The instinct to move 1 second before everyone else. The instinct to score. And perhaps that is why defenders feared him so much. Because against Filippo Inzaghi, the biggest danger was never what he was doing. The biggest danger was losing sight of him for just 1 second. Because if that happened, the ball would already be in the net.